Guys, for those of you who are new to my channel, hi, my name is Ajabankole and welcome to my channel. And for those of you who've been here, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my end of the year wrap up. Oh my god, I cannot believe we're here. So in this video, I am going to be reviewing all the books that I read in 2024 in very few sentences. Hopefully I remember most of them because I read a lot of books in 2024. So first, let's talk about my reading goal for 2024. So when I first set my Goodreads reading goal for 2024, I wanted to read 60 books. Guess what? Your girl accomplished it and went above and beyond. So in 2024, I read 103 books. Crazy, like literally crazy. I never thought I was gonna hit that 100 mark yet. I thought it might take me a few years for me to get there, but I got there last year and I was very surprised, but I was very grateful that I was able to read that much books. With that being said, let's go through my analytics. So for Fable says my most read genre is romance. So I read 68 romance books, I read 51 fantasy books, and 44 young adult books, and 41 mystery books, and 38 thriller books, which is crazy. And then my average rating for 2024 was 3.5 stars, okay? I gave about 4 or 5 books 5 stars. I gave about 40 books 4 stars. And I gave about 40 plus books 3 stars, which it makes sense. And then let's talk about the authors. So my most read authors was Frida McFadden, Elsie Silver, and Lisa Jewell. I read 7 books from Frida McFadden. Honestly, that's not surprising because Frida McFadden's books are very fast-paced. So sometimes when I'm like, okay, I want to read, but I don't want to read a very heavy book, I always pick up a Frida McFadden book. Elsie Silver, that's because I finally finished the Chestnut Spring series in 2024. And Lisa Jewell, I love her with all my heart. And then the rest of the authors. Okay, so those are my analytics from Fable. They also do this thing where they kind of make it look like a Spotify wrap up, which is so cute. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about my analytics from my yearinbooks.com. So this isn't really accurate because I originally really read 103 books, but in 2024 I read 103 books and it all adds up to, which I'm pretty sure it's a little bit higher since I did read 103 books, but we're gonna just stick to what they said because I don't want to do that math. But it adds up to 41,559 pages and my minutes is 70,650 minutes. It says that's bananas. You should feel proud of yourself. And I read 22,656 more pages than 2023. And then I read 26 genres. My top genres were romance, fantasy, and mystery. And then it says, based on your reading this year, your reading aura is twisted tales. And that's my analytics, my 2024 analytics. With that being said, let's get into the 103 books that I read in 2024. Most of them are audiobooks or from Kindle Unlimited, so I will be putting pictures up here because I don't have the physical copy of the audiobooks that I listened to, some of the audiobooks that I listened to, and the ones that I read on Kindle Unlimited, but most of them are behind me. I have physical copies of them. So we're gonna start from January all the way to December. So my first book of 2024 is Inheritance by Nora Roberts. I rated this book a 4.75 stars. I absolutely love this book. It had everything and more that I look for in a book, and it's also a historical kind of fiction book. It's gonna be a trilogy, and yeah, I generally love it. I love the main character, Sonia, and I love the fact that it has ghosts and all that stuff. And it also has Sonia and her best friend and how much they support each other. I absolutely loved it. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I rate this one a 4-star, but I'm gonna be honest, I kind of don't remember what happened in this book. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. My first 5-star read of 2024. I didn't think I was gonna like Magnolia Parks. I thought Daisy Hates was gonna be my favorite, but after reading Magnolia Parks, I absolutely loved it. The drama, everything about it, I loved it. Legend Born by Tracy Dion. I rated this one a 5-star. I binged it in a day because it was such a crazy read. I like the uniqueness of the story. Like, it wasn't just your normal like fantasy. It was like a modern fantasy, but like we had some old like lore being told in it. And I just like Brie. Like, I felt like she was a very strong female character, and I just like her in the book. I felt like she made the book. And yeah, Flawless by Elsa Silver. This is not my favorite read of the Chestnut Spring series, but I do love Summer. I forgot the guy's name. What was his name? Riot? Summer and Riot. Summer's my favorite. Summer's my favorite. I felt like she was a strong female character, and I felt like how she stood up for herself in moments she needed to stand up for herself. And yeah, it was a fun read, but it just wasn't like my favorite. I rated this one a 4-star. Rootless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This one was actually a disappointment for me because I really liked the first book, Divine Rivals. I think I rated that one a 5-star, and this one kind of fell flat. I felt like what we really wanted to see, we didn't get to see it. I really wanted to see the dynamic between our two main characters and their journey on this, you know, newfound love they found with each other. But instead, we were just getting the drama about the gods, and I really wasn't here for it. I did rate it a 4-star because it was good. Whenever we did get like, you know, our two main characters together, I loved it. We have Daisy Hates by Jessa Hastings. This one is actually a disappointment for me. It made me realize that I really did like Magnolia Parks more. I was more invested in the Magnolia Park story. I wasn't as invested in the Daisy Hates story. Maybe because it didn't have as much drama. I didn't see the obsession of Julian. I was like, I don't get this. He irks my nerves. He makes me irritated. He's just ill, weird. So he's not my cup of tea. He's not my favorite. But Daisy is cute. I do like her as a character, but this was very disappointing. I did rate it a 4-star because there was some drama. Just wasn't, you know, Magnolia Parks. I Fed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me by Jamesy Shea. This one was, you know, a book. It was a very, you know, it was a very like, oh, okay, book. I don't have much to say. I rated it a 3-star. I read Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gogi. This one, honestly, it was fun. It was really fun. I felt like, I think he was called Nightmare. I really did like the main female character. I just don't remember too much about this book. You know, it's not one of the books that lives rent free in my head. I rated it a 3.5 stars. I don't have a physical copy because I read this on Kindle Unlimited, but it's If I Have to Be Haunted. And this is a young adult book. I felt like this was a fun book for me to read because it was fast paced and it was just like, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but I just felt like it was just a quick, fun read for me to read. I rated it a 3 stars. 70-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. Honestly, this was a disappointment for me because a lot of people rated it a 5-star and I was really excited to read it. But I also think it was because I read it when I was filming a 24-hour reading vlog and I was like literally delirious and tired. So maybe I need to give it a second chance and maybe I will feel what the others were feeling. But at the moment, I was just like, okay, this is a cute read. It was a cute read. I love the whole time travel thing. It was fun. I just didn't feel what others were feeling. I was just like, am I missing something? Like what? I rated it a 4-star though, but I really wanted to rate it a 5-star. But like I said, I think it was because I was filming a 24-hour vlog. Another Kindle Unlimited book that I read. I don't have a physical copy of it. Love and Gelato. I don't remember anything about this book. I don't think I liked it very much, but I rated it a 3-star. I read The Coworker by Frida McFadden. I actually like Frida McFadden. I feel like she's a hit or miss for a lot of like readers, but for me, I think her book is like a very fast paced and an easy read, and it does have some good element to it. For me, it's her endings. Her endings are very disappointing, and that's what happened in this book. We were going off strong. It was a lot of, oh my god, this is crazy, and then we get to the ending and we kind of got like a very mid ending that I felt like that didn't do the book justice. So I rated it a 3-star because of it. I was very disappointed about the ending. And then I read The Blackwoods by Brandon Colbert. This was how I just bit myself. What the heck? What the heck? Okay, so this was actually a fun read. I feel like I kind of we get different point of views, so I really enjoyed it. I rated it a 4.25 stars. It was a great read. I had fun reading it. Nolan Park's The Long Way Home. This was a 500-page plus book full of hurt and pain. I cried. It was just a great read. I rated it 5 stars. The Magnolia Parks universe has my heart. And Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I rated this one a 4-star. It was a fun little like fantasy, and I loved our main character Signa, and you know, her discovering her powers and being able to talk to death, and then the romance between both of them was actually really fun to read because it's like he's really not there, you know what I mean? Only she can see him, which is crazy. But I rated it a 4-star. It was a fun read. The Vicious Games by Jolene Wellington. I was obsessed with this book. This book was crazy. It was a lot of like just twists and turns. I rated it 4.95 stars. It was almost a 5-star, but I feel like there's some things in there that made me like it wasn't really a 5-star, but it was a high 4-star. The Family Remains by Lisa Jewell. I actually did not know this was a series, and this was actually the second book of the series, and I read this one first before the first book. I didn't realize until I was reading the first book, and I was like, why does this sound familiar? Oh shoot, crazy. But I actually liked this book. It was fun. It was crazy and weird, and just the main male character, he creeped me out. But it was a 3-star, which is surprising because I always give Lisa Jewell's books like 4 stars or 5 stars. So this was like my first 3 stars for Lisa Jewell. And I read Foxglove by Adeline Grace. This one was actually better than the first book. I felt like this is where we get more of the lore about Signa and Death, and then her cousin, and you know, Death's brother Faith comes into the picture, and we get this drama between 2 brothers and this, you know, thing that happened in the past that one of them can't forgive the other about. It was just a lot of drama, and I really loved it. It was a I rated it a 4.5 stars. I felt like this is where we got more about Signa, and I felt really connected to Signa at this point. Then we have Heartless Hunter by Kristen. I'm not gonna try to butcher her last name. I'm not gonna do this to her. No. This was a fun read. I was actually stuck between a 4.5 or 4 stars for this book. It was such a, you know, I love like witchy stories, but I really love the way this one was written, and the forbidden love, the secrets between our 2 main characters, and then the betrayal when the secrets are revealed. Like, oh my god, crazy. Loved it. Cannot wait for the second book. I'm literally on the edge of my seat. Give it to me, please. Thank you. I have A Fate Linked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. This was a disappointment. I'm gonna just tell you that. It was a disappointment. I was really sad. I really wanted it to be, you know, one of my hit reads, and it just wasn't that, okay? I rated it a 3 stars. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. I just, no, no. Then I read Century of the Shadow by Aurora Asher, another disappointment. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I hated this book. I hated it. I just couldn't, like, crazy. But did I finish it though? Yes. You know, I could have DNF'd it, but I did finish it. I was lost majority of the time. None of the stuff that happened in this book made sense. I rated it a 2 by Holly Jackson. I love Miss Holly Jackson. She knows how to write them, you know, mystery thriller books. Like, she knows how to get you, okay, on your seat. She knows how to make you binge her books, because when I tell you I binged this in less than 9 hours, it was crazy. It had me on my toes. I was like, what is happening? This is messy. Like, oh, don't play. Don't you ever play with Miss Jackson. I did a 4.95 stars. I loved it. It was absolutely great. I had fun. And Funny Story by Emily Henry. This was kind of like a disappointment for me. I was really excited, but I felt no connection to neither of our main characters. It just was not it. I rated it 3 stars. Yeah, disappointment. Just for the Summer by Javi Jimenez. I actually really like this one. It was a cute read. I like both our main characters and how they just, you know, were there for one another when they needed each other. And it was just like a very cute, fun romance book. I rated it a 4.75. I really wanted it to be a 5 stars, but there's some things that it just didn't give me that 5-star feeling, but I did. I read A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. I'm not gonna lie to you, Bookie, I don't remember anything about this book. I don't remember anything about this book. I rated it a 3 star. And No One Can Know by Kate Elise Marshall. This was actually a crazy read with just twists and turns. Just the ending pissed me off. The ending pissed me off. I rated it a 4 stars because of the ending. I did not agree with it. I was just like, no. 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 I read When I'm Dead by Hannah Morisi. Love this book. It had me on my toes. I was like, oh, clock it. It was crazy. It was a crazy thriller. I rated it a 4.5. I absolutely recommend it. Love her. I love her in all her glory. I read Happy Place by Emily Henry. This was another disappointment of 2024 for me because I was so excited to read this book. I was like, okay, this gonna eat. It's gonna be a 5-star. Don't play. Yeah. No. 5-star where? It was a 4-star for me. William Parks, Into the Dark. This was how many pages was this? Like 800? 700? This was like a 700 page plus book of hurt, pain, tears. Do you see this? Like, I annotated the heck out of this book. It was crazy. It was emotions. It was the perfect wrap up to the Magnolia Park series. Hastings did a great job with this one. I absolutely devoured it. I rated it a 5 stars. Nothing else. Like nothing else but a 5. Twin Crowns by Catherine Doline and Catherine Weber. I absolutely love this book. It was such a fun read and I rated it a 4.5 stars. Then I read First Lie Wins by Alicia Elston or Elston. I feel like I'm saying her last name wrong. I'm so sorry. I rated this one a 3 stars. Just, yeah, it was a miss. It was a miss for me. I read A Tempest of Tea by Afasa Faisal. I absolutely love this one. I felt like our main character was such a strong female character. It had vampires and it was just like a very fun murder like fantasy, but just like unique. I rated it a 4 star. I had a blast reading this one. Yeah. I read This Woven Kingdom by Teria Moffett. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm butchering those names and I'm really sorry about that. I actually like this one. I don't remember a lot, but I do like I liked the content of the book. I just felt like it was such long chapters and the pace of the book wasn't as fast as I would like. I rated it 3.95 stars. For the Dusk by Elizabeth Lim. This was a disappointment for me. I was really sad. I wanted it to be more. I rated it a 3 star. And then I read Ace of Spades by Frida Abike Iyemide. I loved it. It was such a different read for me, but like I loved every second of this book. It was a lot of eye-opening, you know, events that happened in this book that I was just like, this is crazy. I rated it 4.75 stars. It was such a great book and I recommend this book wholeheartedly. Please read this book. It's such a great book. I read Wayward by Emily Earhart. I love this one too. It was a historical fiction book, but it was such a fun read. It had the witch element in it and so much more. I rated it 4.5 stars and it just showed how strong women are and how you can always take yourself out of a situation that isn't healthy for you. And Heartless by Elsie Silver. This was my favorite book in the Chestnut Spring series. I love Willa. I love Kate. I love their relationship. Willa is my queen. She's like this. Like I genuinely love her. She's my inner women. Like I want to be like her. I aspire to be like her. She's such a strong, funny. Okay, women, don't you ever play with her. Don't play. Don't play. Okay, I absolutely love this book. I rated it a 5 star. I had a blast. I read The Wern and the Holly Library by K.A. Lindy. I rated this one a 3-star. I don't really remember a lot of stuff about this book, but it was an okay book. It was okay. It was like a fun pastime read for me. And Powerless by Elsie Silver. I absolutely love this one too. It was such a fun read. I liked Heartless better. I just felt like there were some things missing. But it was a fun read. I rated it a 4-star. These Violence Delights by Chloe Kong. I'm not gonna lie, Bookie, I don't remember a lot about this one. I did rate it a 3-star though. Heartbeat by Kyria Cass. I rated this one a 3-star. I didn't really like enjoy it as much as I would love to enjoy it, but it was an okay. I read Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. I absolutely love this book. I devoured it. Yeah, I devoured it. Lauren Asher never misses. She is the queen. I love her. I rated it a 4-star. I just felt like it being 500 pages plus was a lot. I just felt like the story didn't need that much pages. Okay, then I read Reckless by Elsie Silver. Again, this was a fun read. Wasn't my favorite. Me and Heartless were like this. I rated this one a 4-star though. I read Forbidden Heart by Courtney Michaels. This was another fun read. It was giving the same vibes as the Chestnut Spring series, but I don't know. I just felt like it was like a cute read for me to read. I rated a 4-star. Yeah, that's Marked by Tracy Dion. This one was actually kind of a disappointment for me. I feel like we kind of fell off a little bit. I rated it a 4-star. And then I read Sacred by Emily McIntyre. I don't really remember a lot about this book. I rated it a 3-star. I don't think it was my favorite. Yeah. I read The Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I finally finished that series, closed the chapter on that. It was about time. I rated this one a 4-star. I felt like it was a fun read. Roots and Ruins by Aaron A. Gregg. This was actually a fun read. And I actually had a really fun time reading this book. I rated this one a 4-star. It did take me a minute to get through it because it is pretty thick, but it was a fun read. A Talent for Murder by Peter Watson. This was a very like a oh okay type of book. I rated it a 3-star. It was like a quick read. I read it in like 4 hours. It's 200 pages. Yeah, but Yours Truly by Javi Jimenez. This was my favorite read of Javi Jimenez. I rated this book a 5-star. Absolutely loved it. It was such a great book, and I felt seen, and it felt great to read a story where you could really relate to the main character and you know what they're going through and you can just, you know, see it in their perspective. I absolutely devoured it. 5-star forever. Like, I love this book. Has my heart forever. Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This was actually the last book of the Inheritance series. I rated it a 4-star. Serpent and Dove by Shelby Maureen. I actually really loved this series. It was such a fun read. I rated it a 4.5 star. I had an amazing time reading it. It was a high-stake fantasy, and it felt really like fun to follow along with the main characters. But What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. I rated this one a 3.95 stars. I liked it, but I just felt like there were some things in the book that I was just like, I didn't agree with, and a lot of the time I was confused most of the time, but it was a fun read for me to read. And then I read Powerful by Lauren Roberts. This is a telenovela in the Reckless by Lauren Roberts trilogy. I think it was a fun, you know, mini read, getting to see the other characters' point of view. It was okay, but I rated it a 3-star. I read Lightlark by Alex Astor. I rated it a 3.95 because of the ending. I did not agree with the ending, but overall it was a fun read. I absolutely loved it. I devoured it, and yeah. And then I read Blood and Honey by Shelby Maureen. This was the second book of the Serpent and Dove series. This one wasn't my favorite because I felt like we kind of fell off a little bit. I rated it a 3-star. I did like the first book more than this one, but I felt like it was like a filler read, and I think, yeah, it's a trilogy. But yeah, a novel love story. This one was actually a surprise to me because you would think I would, you know, I would rate this book a 5 star given the way I annotated this book. Yes, there were some really good quotes that I love. Yes, it was an amazing read, but it was just not a 5 star for me because of the ending. I felt like the ending just fell flat for me. I rated it a 4.5 stars. Summer Romance by Annabelle Morgan. This was another fun read and fast-paced read of mine. I really did enjoy it. I rated it a 3.5 stars, but the content of it, I just felt like it felt flat for me, and you know, parts where I felt like should have been more higher, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm not making sense. Then I read The Inheritance Brothers by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This was another fun read to see the other characters' point of views, because in the Inheritance game trilogy we only see Avery's point of views, but now we get the boys' point of views, and we get to see their lives after that series, you know, ended, and like where they are now, what they're doing, what they're up to, and then we get to hear what the boys have to say. I did it a 3.5 stars. Into the Villain by Hannah Nicole Maria, or Mary, I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm sorry. But this was actually a fun read. It had a lot of funny, you know, little humor quotes in there. And I rated it up 4 stars. I had fun. I was cracking up majority of the time. Book I actually listened to on audiobook, and it's The Locked Door by Frida McFadden. I rated this one a 3.5 stars. It was crazy. Baby, it was crazy. It was such a crazy read. It was actually a really good Frida McFadden book, and I feel like this one I really liked. And it's Hair of Sawdust and Secrets by C.C. Hartley. I really love this. I love the world building. I love the magic system, and I love that our main female character, I felt like she was such a strong female character. I rated it a 4 star. And then the next book I listened to an audiobook on Libby. It's The Teacher by Frida McFadden. This one was actually crazy. I actually enjoyed this one a lot. The ending was crazy. The plot twist was I rated it a 4 star. I highly recommend this one actually. I know Frida McFadden is hit or miss for people, but I actually really did enjoy this one. Reckless by Lauren Roberts. This one fell flat for me. I was really excited because I rated Powerless, I think 5 stars, but this one fell flat. I don't know. I just did not feel connected as I did with Powerless. So I rated this one a 3 stars. Yeah. Beach Read by Hemley Henry. I wanted to see what the girlies were talking about because this is like a lot of people's favorites, but I ended up rating it a 4.5 stars. I did like our 2 main characters. I did feel connected to them, but it just didn't give me that 5-star feeling. Yeah, and I finished the Chestnut Spring series with Hopeless by Halsey Silver. I rated this one a 3 star. It wasn't my favorite of the Chestnut Spring series. I felt like, you know, the oomph was missing in this one, but it was a fun read and it felt great to, you know, finish. The next book I actually listened to on audiobook on Libby, Betting on You by Lynn Painter. This one was a 3 star. It just didn't give me the same feeling like Better Than the Movies. Better Than the Movies is my favorite book from her of all times, but this one just was missing that oomph that Better Than the Movies had. And then I listened to The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. I rated this one a 2.5 star. This one was a disappointment for The Shadows Between Us by Trissa Lenzeller. I feel like I'm saying that wrong. I'm so sorry. I rated this one a 3 star. It was also a disappointment. I didn't get that oomph that I look for. Listen to This Poison Heart by Kylan Byron. Loved it. I loved it. Loved it. Okay. I rated it a 4 star. Such a great book. Devoured it. And then I read Cinderella is Dead by Kylan Myron. I also rated this one a 4 star. It was such a, you know, different type of Cinderella retelling, and it was like the most unique one I've read so far, and I absolutely liked it. It was crazy, but it was such a great book. Love Theoretically by Hallie Hazelwood. I actually liked this one. It was a fun read. I rated it a 4 star. But it didn't hit for me like The Love Hypothesis, but it was a fun read. Good Bad Girl by Alice Finney. This was crazy. Loved it. Ate it up. I rated it a 4 star. Such a great thriller. And yeah. And then the next one I listened to, The Midnight Fist. I don't remember a lot about this book. I rated it a 3-star. The Carnival by Stephanie Garber. This was actually a disappointment for me because I was really excited for this, you know, series. I love the Once Upon a Broken Heart like series. They have my heart. So I was really excited to, you know, get into the Stephanie Garber's universe, and this one fell flat for me. I rated it 3.5 stars. The next one I also listened to an audiobook. It's called Tweet Cube by Emma Lord, and this one was actually a fun read. It was a fun little pastime to listen to. I was at work and I just needed an audiobook to keep me busy. I rated it a 3.5 stars. And then I read Shadows of Pearl by JL. This is the second book of the House of Maureen. I feel like I always say that wrong. This one felt flat for me. The first one was a lot better in my opinion. I can't wait to see how she, you know, moves on from the second book. I did enjoy it. I just felt like I liked the first book better, but I did rate it a 4-star. It was The Gods of the Wood by Liz Maury. This one was a very confusing book. I feel like I was lost majority of the time. I rated it a 3-star. I felt like we could have done better, but I listened to a study in drowning. I rated this one a 3-star. It just was like a pastime type of book to listen to, but I just didn't love it like I was hoping I would. Then I listened to The Lies We Conjure by Sarah Henning. I loved this one. I absolutely devoured it. I was like, oh God, this is crazy. I rated it a 4-star. And then I read What Lies Between Us by John Mayer. When I tell you this book was crazy, the twists, the turns, it just was like, oh, that's crazy. I rated it 5 stars actually, and it was crazy. I didn't believe it was gonna be a 5 stars, but it ended up being a 5-star, and I was not mad at it. And then I listened to When No One Is Watching by Alicia Cole. I rated this one a 3-star. It was like a miss for me, but it was still good, so I rated it a 3-star. Then I read Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Finney. Loved it, actually. Rated it a 4-star. The ending was crazy. I was just like, oh, clock it. Then I read I Know Who You Are by Alice Finney. Rated this one a 4-star too. Crazy, loved it. It was actually fun to listen to these audiobooks because I felt like I could really imagine what was happening in the book and really paint the picture. Read The Mirror by Nora Roberts. This is the second book in The Inheritance, and I actually really like this one too. I rated it 4.75 stars. I feel like we got to learn more about Sonia and this, you know, journey she's taking. Listen to Watching You by Lisa Jewell. Rated this one a 3-star. It was like a miss for me. Listen to The Girls in the Garden by Lisa Jewell. 3 stars again. This one was actually okay, but there was some things that I was just like, eh. And then Word D by Frida McFadden. Rated this one a 3-star. I felt like we had potential in this book, but it just a miss. Like, are you kidding me? And then I listened to The Family's Upstairs, and this is actually the first book of The Family Remains. The Family Remains is the second book. This is why I said I didn't know it was a series. And this one was a 3-star. I think it was because I read them backwards, and some of the stuff that was explained in the first book I already kind of knew from the second book, but it was nice to just see how the story started because I always felt like the second book there were some things I was missing. Starling House by Alex E. Harrell. I actually love this one. This was a fun read. I rated it a 4-star. I like the magic system. I like the mysterious, like we're trying to uncover some of the lore about this book. But yeah, I rated it a 4-star. Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods. This one was actually a fun read. It was a great pastime. I rated this 3 stars. And The Perfect Son by Frida McFadden. This was actually a good one, actually. There was some misses. I rated it 3.5 stars. The ending I did not see coming. The twist was crazy. I did not see it coming. She had me for a minute. Sometimes I see right through the twist, but this one I really did not. I really did. And then now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, there were signs, baby. There were signs that you could have caught, but I didn't think. To Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and this one was actually a miss for me, for Miss Taylor. I love her. I love her books, but this one was a miss. I rated this one a 3-star. And then I listened to Like Mother Like Daughter by Kimberly McRae. This one was a 3-star. I just felt like the ending was so unsatisfying. Yeah, I listened to The Games Gods Play, and this is actually going to be a series, the Crucible series by Abigail Owen. I rated this one a 3-star too. It was a fun read. It was a fun read. There was just some misses. And then I listened to Filthy Rich Fae by Genevieve Lee. Rated this one a 3-star. It was a fun thing. It was a fun book to listen to, but it just, like I said, didn't have the humph I'd be looking for. Nightbane by Alex was the second book of Lightlark, and I loved this one. I loved continuing the series and seeing more of the characters and seeing how we're moving past where we ended up in the first book. I rated this one a 3-star. Bridesmaids Undercover by Megan Quinn. I rated this one a 3.5 stars. It was a great fun read, and you know, there were some funny moments. I just felt like it was underwhelming in my opinion. Then I listened to The Inmate by Frida McFadden. This was actually really fun. It was a fun read. I rated it a 3.5. The twist was crazy and I loved it. And Spark of Everflame by Pin Code. I actually really loved this one. It got me into the series. It's actually a series, and now I love the series. I recently just read the second book and I am obsessed with the series. I cannot wait to continue. And then I read The X-Files by Jessa Joyce. I really wanted to rate this one a 5-star, but it wasn't a 5-star for me. It was more of a 4-star. It was a great fun read, and seeing them have a second chance. I feel like this was like one of my first second chance romance book, but it was fun to read. And yeah, okay guys, that concludes the 103 books I read in 2024, reviewed in very few sentences, or so I hope I did that, because I do love to yap. I hope you guys like this video. If you guys are looking for more in-depth reviews, check out my monthly wrap-ups. I know I didn't do some for the end of like 2024, but I did read most of these books in reading vlogs, so check those out too. I really love you guys. Thank you guys so much for all your support and just always being here, always watching my videos. I cannot wait to see what 2025 brings for us. I cannot wait to see how we crush our reading goal for 2025, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Stay blessed, stay beautiful. Bye.